Good morning, friends. Nicolaus Copernicus was a Renaissance polymath, active as a mathematician, astronomer, and a Catholic canon. He formulated a model of the universe that placed the sun rather than earth at its center. He was born to German-speaking parents on 19 February 1473 and he died on 24 May 1543. In all likelihood, Copernicus developed his model independently of Aristarchus of Samos, an ancient Greek astronomer who had formulated such a model some 18 centuries earlier. The publication of a Copernican model in his book on the revolutions of the celestial spheres just before his death in 1543 was a major event in the history of science. It triggered the Copernican Revolution and thus making a pioneering contribution to the scientific revolution. Copernicus was born in Royal Prussia, Poland, and was a polyglot and polymath, meaning a linguist and a specialist. He obtained a doctorate in canon law and was a mathematician, astronomer, physician, classic scholar, translator, governor, diplomat, and an economist. His village was called Koperniki or Kopernik. In 1517, Copernicus derived a quantity theory of money, a key concept in economics, and in 1519 he formulated an economic principle that later came to be called Gresham's law. It meant that bad or debased coinage drives good or undebased coinage out of circulation. After his lower education, Copernicus joined University of Krakow for higher education. He received a thorough grounding in mathematical astronomy, along with a good knowledge of philosophy and natural science, making him conversant with the humanistic culture. Copernicus developed his critical faculties and initiated his analysis of logical contradictions in the two official systems of astronomy, Aristotle's theory of homocentric spheres and Ptolemy's mechanism of eccentrics and epicycles. This was the first step toward the creation of his own doctrine of the structure of the universe. Copernicus had an ecclesiastical career, having assumed minor orders and a chapter in Warmia Canonry. He was one of the candidates for the episcopal seat of Warmia too. He was at the University of Bologna as a jurist for some time. He worked as a professor of astronomy in Rome around the Jubilee year 1500. He received his doctorate in canon law from the University of Padua. He studied Greek language and culture as well. The first poetic work of Copernicus was a Greek epigram. Copernicus wrote an initial outline of his heliocentric theory known as Commentario Luz. It was a succinct theoretical description of the world's heliocentric mechanism without mathematical apparatus. Copernicus conducted astronomical observations in 1513 and 1516. Copernicus made available to friends his Commentario Luz or Little Commentary, a manuscript describing his ideas about the heliocentric hypothesis. It contained 7 basic assumptions. Thereafter, he continued gathering data for a more detailed work. The Copernican system was appreciated in the papal circle and others, while it was attacked by some Protestants and others. Despite urgings from many quarters, Copernicus delayed publication of his book, perhaps from fear of possible criticism, astronomical, philosophical, and even religious. In 1539, George Joachim Reticus wrote a book, Narratio Prima, first account, outlining the theory of Copernicus. Toward the close of 1542, Copernicus was seized with apoplexy and paralysis, and he died at age 70. Legend has it that he was presented with the final printed pages of his De Revolutione on the very day that he died, allowing him to take farewell of his life's work. He is reputed to have awoken from a stroke-induced coma, looked at his book, and then died peacefully. Copernicus was reportedly buried in Fromborg Cathedral, where a 1580 epitaph stood until being defaced. Copernicus was given a second funeral by the former papal nuncio to Poland and newly named primate of Poland. A black granite tombstone identifies him as the founder of the heliocentric theory and also a church canon. The tombstone bears a representation of Copernican model of the solar system and a golden sun encircled by 6 of the planets. Objections to the heliocentric theory of Copernicus arose mainly after Galileo. Tolosani and Ingoli were the main opponents, saying that it is scientifically unproved and unfounded. Galileo was warned by the church that he could not hold or defend the Copernican doctrine as it does not correspond to the Holy Scripture. Later on, the church revised this position into one of appreciation. On the occasion of the birthday of Copernicus 2025, on behalf of Institute of Harmony and Peace Studies, New Delhi, I wish to make a strong appeal to my fellow humans in India and world over. Let us hail Copernicus for the revolutionary theory and awaken in us the sense of innovation and pioneering attitude. Hail Nicolaus Copernicus. Thank you.